Hello everyone, this is Quilo and welcome to another music theory video. Today we're going to talk about chords. So a chord is a group of three or more notes played simultaneously. But it's not just any three notes put together. There's a very precise logic behind the construction of them. And I'm going to show you where they come from and how you can make them. So last week we were talking about scales, and this is where chords come from. If we say that a song is in the key of C major, for example, that means that the chords within that song are going to come out of this scale, the C major scale. So how do we make chords? Okay, first let's take a look at the notes, right? So if this is going to be the root of my chord, then for example, we can say that this is the second, this is the third, the F is the fourth, the fifth, and so on, right? So the way we make chords is by stacking up thirds. So for example, to make a C major chord, we need to stack a third on top of it. That would mean the E. And then we need another third on top of that. That means E's third. So that's the G. And then we get just the C major chord. Now that we've done our first chord, we can do the same process to get the rest of the chords for the scale. Let's take a look at how this sounds. So you might have heard of major and minor chords, and you're wondering what that is. So that has to do with the internal structure of how the chord is built. That means the intervals that make up the chord. And in the major scale, we have three different types of chords: the major, the minor, and the diminished chord. Let's take a look at that. So if we set all the chords on the same note, the C, we're going to find that we have three different types of chords. As we can see, we have these ones, which are the major chords. This one is actually the same as this one. Then we have our minor chords, which are these: the second, the third, and the sixth. And then we have a diminished chord, the seventh of the scale. So right here we have, on the first major chord, we have an interval which is 2 tones. That is called a major third. And then on the upper one, we have a tone and a half. That's called a minor third. If we take a look at the minor chord, we have the intervals actually like flipped. So we have the minor third at the bottom and then the major third on the top. And then on the diminished chord, we have 2 minor thirds. As you can see, this one is lower than on the rest of the chords. To make it simple, we could say that if a chord has a minor third, then it's going to be a minor chord. But if it has a major third, then it's going to be a major chord. Let's take a look at the functions that each chord has within a scale. So there are 3 main functions, and those are determined by the tension, which goes from no tension at all to a lot of tension. So the 3 basic functions are tonic, which the first chord is the one that represents that the most. Then there's the subdominant, which is this one right here, the fourth. This is kind of like middle tension. And then we have the dominant, which is the 5th chord, and it's the one that carries the most tension. The rest of the chords all fit into one of these 3 functions. Like for example, the second one, that's a subdominant. The third one belongs to the tonic chords. The 6th one belongs to the tonic chords, and the 7th belongs to the dominant chords. When you want to make a chord progression, it's best to try to avoid staying in one function for a long period of time. Like if you connect two chords that have the same function, like the first and the sixth, that's okay. But if you put four chords that are all tonics, that's gonna sound a bit boring. So you wanna alternate between different functions. Like one of the most basic chord progressions is alternating between the first and the fifth. So that's a very basic progression. You also have like the first and the fourth. So that one carries a little bit less tension in the chord progression because we're using a subdominant, not the fifth. We can also change between, like, for example, a first, or we can do like a first, then so if we build chord progressions that alternate between the functions, we're going to have interesting results. At this point, it's about experimenting and finding out what chord progressions resonate the most with you. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave a comment and hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. We're living in some crazy times right now, so please stay at home and stay safe. See you in the next video.